Meredith Gorman here, and are you still not subscribed to Matt's channel? Well, if you're not, hit the subscribe button because he's giving out free picks each and every week. Hope you have a good rest of your day.
NFL Week 11 is here, guys. I'll be looking at three big games like always, one being the Monday Nighter. Provide some teaser and underdog options for you guys. Wild week last week. Some underdogs came through. Some boring-ass games as well. The Bills upset we will talk about. Saints rookie QB gets their first win over Carolina. Some Survivor tickets were ruined, including one of mine. And we'll give you a rant here soon on the Buffalo Bills loss, something I did not see coming. This week, we're going to look at the Rams versus Seahawks. Huge game. Game for first place in my power rankings. We got Lions versus Eagles. Another huge game. Top three in the power rankings type of game right there. Battle for the NFC top team. I would put them right behind the Rams or Seahawks. If Rams win that game, Rams stay number one. They are my new power ranking number one team going into this week. And we got the Monday Nighter, Vegas versus Dallas. Not a good one. But like always, we always talk the Monday Nighter. Systemsportscapping.com or link.me/systemcapping for updated records, resume, client opportunities, and more. I'll be updating my website very shortly, so look out for that. Currently handicapping NFL, PGA, UFC, and then some NHL at lower volume. If you're watching on YouTube, what's going on? If you're listening on Spotify or Apple Podcasts, I do have some more listeners over there these days. I do appreciate all of you. So far, NFL, up and down year, highlighted by the spread market at 69%. That's been the highlight for me so far. Hopefully we can stay around there. It is a lot lower volume. 2-0 spread week last week with the Lions -8. Wasn't scared of that road big spread against a terrible Washington team. That defense is absolutely garbage. And then the Falcons plus the points over in Germany. They were able to hang on. Another game they could have won. Back-to-back games they should have won, to be honest. Tough sledding for Falcons. I do like them here at home against Carolina, though. Another underdog winner for you guys last week. We hit with New England, plus 125. Hopefully you tailed there. Jags almost made it another winner. I did throw them in late as well to give two. They lost 26-0 in the fourth quarter, and that's why both didn't hit. But we continue to find winners each week in the underdog market. Hopefully you guys have been tailing just under 70% for the year plus money underdogs. Bills rant. Let's get into the Bills rant, guys. 9-1 versus the Dolphins. Last time they lost to the Dolphins was 2022. So yeah, okay, I obviously would never just go off that. But what I would go off is how good the Bills have been playing. They've been playing really good football, guys. They blew out Carolina. Carolina was playing good. And then they just beat Kansas City Chiefs. So you could say, would this be a letdown spot? Possibly, but Miami's just been playing so bad. There's no way anyone saw this coming. Hanging around covering, sure. To win outright, wild. I was so confident in them. I almost had Miami as like a 0, but there's never a 0% chance in the NFL of winning. I had them at maybe 5% of winning this game. So that allowed me to play them in Survivor. It allowed me to play them in the teaser market. I didn't even bet them on the full spread. Teased them down just to win, like 2.5. Very surprising. Very surprising. There's just no way I could have seen that coming. And that's what happens, right? That's why multiple reasons. One, they call it a teaser. The other reason, it's Survivor, right? So eliminated in the circa, made it to week 10. That's not bad, I guess, but not great either. We have one left, though. Splash. I'm in the Splash Sports Tournament. We took Denver. They barely won. They won 10-7. So I do have one survivor left on Splash Sports. I think there's about 300 people left in that one. I think there's only 4,000 entries. So still alive in there. Anytime you can make it, past week 10 or close to Thanksgiving, you did fairly well, but, never good enough if you get eliminated these weeks. You got to basically run it. Only one time I've ran all 17 weeks. Now it's 18, but prior I won I won one before. This was a while ago, like 2017, 2018. Not easy to run the table. Hopefully I can in this Splash Sports. Let's do an updated power rankings for you guys. Rams at the top, like I mentioned. We got Seahawks right behind them, both in the same division. Interesting there. And then Eagles and Lions. NFC heavy right now. And the Pats to round it out as the best AFC team right now. They're in fifth. And it's warranted, right? Some people even have them a little higher. I'm not going to argue too much with that. I don't think they're better than any of these four teams that I just mentioned. But they are starting to put together good wins. They beat the Bills. They beat the Bucks now on the road. So before they were just beating whoever, whatever, we thought maybe that Bills game was lucky. Now we're starting to see the Bills. Are they really that good? But now they beat a Bucks team coming off a bye. I know they're banged up, the Bucks, but hey, Pats earned it, and they're right there. Rams and Seattle will be battling for the top spot. We'll get into that game right now. Let's get right into it, guys. Seattle at LA minus 2.5, minus 2.5. Total 48.5. Some threes out there. Shop around. Obviously, if you like the Rams, get it at 2.5. Even buy a half if needed. Money is coming in on the Rams going into this game, guys. Big time game here, battle for the best in the NFL right now, in my opinion. The Rams, I had them as a top 5 team coming into the year, possibly. I expect them to be a top 10 team, hanging around top 5. Definitely didn't have them first after 10 weeks, and nobody had Seattle being this good. I had Seattle being 500 team, hanging around, getting in a wild card spot. Now, they still might get the wild card spot, but they're going to be definitely better than a 500 team, in my opinion. Always loved what Seattle was doing with Mike Macdonald. I'm a big fan of Mike Macdonald. He's obviously their head coach, if you're unaware. Obviously, he was a defensive coordinator in Baltimore, which I followed him closely there. Excellent coach. I always expect him to be a good coach. He's done very well over with Seattle. It took a little time here, but it looks like some of these trades, they got this team really gelling this season. I can't say I saw Sam Darnold being this good, guys. Now, I never really thought it was a downgrade from Geno Smith. I just thought it wasn't going to be a difference, to be honest. But it's starting to look like an upgrade, guys. He leads the league, guys, in QBR rating at 77.6%. It's first overall. Very impressive. 7th in TDs at 17. And 2,262 passing yards, which is 7th. The only thing he has to work on, of course, is the interceptions at 6. It's bad. It's one of the highest for starting QBs. Stafford, also having a good year, guys. Big time year. They're starting to talk about MVP. He's coming off a 4-touchdown game. He's first in the NFL in touchdowns, guys. 25. 4th in yards, 2,427. 69 QBR. 6th in the NFL. And second, only 2 interceptions on the year. Stafford always knew he was going to be good. He has the weapons to help him out. Obviously, Puka having another big year for them. Rams have won 3 of the last 4 meetings, guys, between these teams. Both these teams have won 4 straight. Great game. Can't stress how good this game is, how excited I am for this game. Not the easiest game to handicap. But I will be looking at the Rams here. Let's first look at the resume difference, right? Important here. You always want to look at who are these teams beating? How good are these teams really? You have to look at that. Strength of schedule is huge, guys. I can't stress that enough. When I'm doing my future market betting, strength of schedule is huge. You got to see who they're beating, right? Rams wins have been better. Their wins have been against Houston, Tennessee, Indy, Baltimore, Jacksonville, New Orleans, and San Fran. Seattle, Pittsburgh, New Orleans, Arizona, Jacksonville, Houston, Washington, Arizona again. So easy win for the Rams. They got wins over Indy, Baltimore, and San Fran. All better than any of those Seattle wins. So very important. You got to look at that. You got Rams at home too. Better resume. There's things that you like here on the Rams and the reason why I'll be backing them. And also in the stats battle. Stats battle is fairly close. It's going to be hard to just determine from that, but you got, top 10 Rams offense versus Seattle's top 10 defense and yards allowed. You got Seattle has been top 3 versus yards allowed against the run all year. So Williams could struggle, could see a lot of throwing from Stafford. Stafford in the over may be a look here. Also, avoid big plays against them, at fourth lowest in the NFL for Seattle. So they haven't been allowing those big breakout plays. And when you don't allow those big plays, you win games usually, guys. Seattle is second in the NFL in yards per play. That's important. Obviously, big throws from Darnold. You got Jackson, of course, making big plays. Just all over the place. They got guys that are stepping up. Rams were able to limit big plays at fifth. So we're going to see a battle there. Can Darnold find a big play for Seattle in this one? Both teams' rushing stats are below average. That hasn't been the strong suit. It has been their aerial attack. Should be a great game, guys. Seattle is 4-0 on the road. I think they're due here for a road loss. So, yeah, if I had to bet this game, it would be Rams minus 2.5. Would I be shocked if Seattle wins? Definitely not. But you have to favor the Rams here. Like I mentioned, the strength of schedule, the being at home, and Sam Darnold coming off one of his best games of the year. No play here on the total, 48.5. Both teams can score, but, big games like this, divisional games, team defenses step up. So I'll be staying away from the total. Just one other note here on the total. Last 5 games these two teams played, only one of them went over the total. Lions versus Eagles, 2.5 favorites. Eagles, total 46.5. Game 2, I'm the most excited about it. It's the Sunday nighter, so we're not going to have overlapping games. Even though I have multiple screens, I like to enjoy one game. Battle for top 3 in the power rankings. Both teams coming off wins. Eagles have won 3 straight and seem to be back to finding their ways. They did have struggling a little bit before their bye. Couple tough losses there against Denver and New York Giants, but they seem to be back even though they didn't look great against the Packers. But if you go on the road and beat the Packers, it's a good win. Snooze fest in that game. I was not expecting that. Wow. I had a couple player props over that just did not get there because of the struggles from these offenses. It was very shocking to see. Glad I'd stayed away from any over bet. If you guys bet the over, I feel bad for you. But wow, unbelievable. Unbelievable. But Eagles just find ways to win games. I say this all the time. Every time I talk about an Eagles game, they haven't been doing it out. They haven't been looking outstanding in any of these wins, guys. They haven't been looking great. They haven't played their best football as they did in that Super Bowl run. It just hasn't been there yet. But they just find ways to win games, and that's what good teams do. So it's hard to bet against them in certain situations, right? But you always got to think something's going to have to give eventually, right? If they're not playing great games and they're playing against good teams, like a good team against Detroit, I think Detroit's live here to win outright. Right, Lions stumbling too, right? They didn't look great against Minnesota in a previous game a couple of weeks ago. They showed up against Washington, but you can't really take much against that game. I expected them to pound Washington. That's why I took the -8 on the road, and I wasn't afraid to do so. They didn't show up against KC, but hey, KC was playing well then. They've just been unpredictable at times, the Lions. Right? They know there's a big game, obviously, in the NFC. Not an easy game to handicap, but if I were to bet this, I would take +3 in the Lions. Shop around, you get some 3s out there. Lions do have some decent wins, but Eagles have the better wins on resume, guys. Lions best win, Baltimore. Better wins with the Eagles, right? Tampa Bay, KC. They beat the Rams, Packers, and Mini. So resume definitely goes to the Eagles here. I'm worried about a little bit with Philly's secondary. And also, I do believe Lane Johnson may be out for this game, the O-line. That's an issue. See if he's playing. That could be a loss. I know Eagles did bring in Taylor. Looks like he was fairly active in that game against the Packers. So it looks like he will be a good addition for them. If you look at some stats here, Lions are top 6 in all yard stats on offense, obviously, right? And I think that's how they could win this game or at least cover this +3. I think their offense should have some success against this Eagles defense and secondary. That's why I believe they can hang around this game. Now, the question is, how is Ertz going to play? Is Ertz going to have a big game? Is Barkley going to be able to run on this Lions team? That's going to be the question, the Lions defense and how it shows up here on the road. But yeah, I'm going to take the Lions +3. That's going to be the play here. Haven't made my client card as of yet, but Lions may make my client card in some aspect this week. Great game, though. Can't wait to see this one, right? Lions top 10 in all yard stats on D as well against Eagles. When you look at the Eagles stats, if you're just looking at stats, yards, rushing yards, passing yards, it's not great. Like I mentioned, the stats aren't great from the Eagles, but it's hard to argue when they're winning games. So I'm not going to use that against them because they continue to win games here. They're at home. Wouldn't be surprised if they win this game, but I just have a feeling, more of a gut feeling, the Lions show up here and hang around in this one. Monday nighter, Dallas -3.5 versus Vegas. Total 50. Two teams going in the wrong direction, guys. Dallas has lost 2 in a row, and Vegas 3. Raiders could have actually won their last 2 games. If you really look at them, 30-29, they lost to Jacksonville. And in that Denver game, 10-7, their defense actually showed up. They could have won that game too. So very close games. Dallas on the road, tough team to back. On the road, they're 1-4 on the road this year. Dallas is the only team I can really look at when they're playing at home. They got some losses already to Carolina and Chicago. Just very difficult team to trust, to bet on. That's why I'll be taking the Vegas here for podcast purposes, +3.5 on Vegas. Haven't bet it yet for clients, but that will be the podcast play. No head-to-head stats to look at here, guys. Last game was in 2021. So we don't really look at that. Stats that stand out, obviously, Dallas's offense, their yards are high. This is should be a high-scoring game, right? What's the total here? 50. Yeah, that's what I see is 50. You should see some high scoring here. Both teams struggle on defense and yards allowed. Obviously, you can throw all over Dallas. That's why I think Geno Smith could have a good game here, which is rare to say for him, but he could have a good game against his Dallas defense. Anyone could have a good game against his Dallas defense. So I believe that's why the Raiders could hang around. I think they can have success on offense and keep this game somewhat close. So that's the way we'll look here. Raiders +3.5. Teasers. Like I mentioned, Bills ruined it last week for us. It's just impossible to see that coming. I'm still shocked. The Bills lost that game, guys. 2 favorites this week. Green Bay. You get that down to -1.5 as well. Good bounce back spot against the Giants who are injured. Darts out as well. And then Falcons, you can get +4 if you're not comfortable with that. There's also Ravens out there. You can get just a win. Now, I know Ravens, I don't really like to bet them against Cleveland in Cleveland. That's why I'm staying away from it. However, it's a rookie QB in Cleveland, so it's a little different. But that defense could show up in Cleveland and shut them down, but I do believe Baltimore wins that game. Underdogs. Not a great week for underdogs. We already talked to one underdog that I like that I could see winning. It's going to be the Lions, guys, +125 out there. I think they could go in and beat Philly. I don't like betting against Philly often, so that's probably why it's going to stay off my client card. But for podcast purposes, guys, I like the Lions to hang around at least to have a shot to win this game. If their offense plays like it did again last week, I know it was the Commanders, but if it plays close to that or just as good, I think they could win this game. And then this will be their, big win of the season, which the Lions are still looking for. That will do it, guys. That will do it. We got a big UFC pay-per-view card, one of the best cards I've seen in a long time. So we'll be talking that tomorrow, so look out for that. Like I always say, guys, bet smart and know your limits. Enjoy this week.